Thank you very much, Cahir. Minister, first of all, I want to say that unfortunately the government have lost the trust and the confidence of the Irish people. NAFIT at this stage, and people might not like to hear this, certain people, they have actually lost the confidence and the trust of the Irish people, because enough is enough. If you take, for instance, the people that have been contacting me, the other people in the Rural Independent group, I know that I'm inundated anyway with people, for instance, from tonight alone, this evening, from the musician side of this country, the people involved in entertainment who haven't been able to earn a day's or a night's pay with a long, long time. People involved in dance and music, people organising weddings, hoteliers organising weddings, undertakers trying to organise their funerals. There is no more blank cheques being given to this government. And if other deputies want to come in here and if they want to blindly and loyally come along and like little puppies and put up and down their heads and vote in favour of an extension of the powers that you have, if they want to do that, well, like the story, if they want to jump in the river, I'm not going in after them. Because my answer to you is the people of Ireland have done enough. They've done everything, they've endured everything that was thrown at them. And they're now saying enough is enough. First of all, I'll start where I'm from and the county that I represent. Be it South Kerry, Mid Kerry, North Kerry, East Kerry, West Kerry, they're all saying enough is enough. The people involved in businesses, the retailers who have thankfully in the last few days been slowly able to open their doors, these people are highly responsible. They know how to run their businesses in a proper fashion. But no one, absolutely no one can tell me a sensible reason today why the public houses aren't allowed to be opened, why the hotels aren't allowed to be opened. When they were allowed to open, they ran their places in a proper and responsible way, and you're denying them that right and opportunity right now, telling people that, oh, they'll all go mad if there's music inside in a pub. Have you lost leave of your senses, Minister, to be fair? And now, with regard to people's health, both their mental health and their physical health. When I talk first of all about their physical health, if you look what our health system was in a shambles before this. I'm sending buses up to the north of Ireland along with other people to think that these people can't get their cataracts removed here in the south, and for hips and knees and all other types of pains and ailments they have to go up to the north to get treatment because of the waiting list here. That was before the pandemic. Now, post the pandemic, we have a situation right now where if a lady, for instance, is worried about if her GP recognises an abnormality and if there's a danger of breast cancer, that should be dealt with immediately, but it's not. And that's crazy, because the waiting list that is there now, accruing from the pandemic and the fact that everything was shut down for so long, and your answer is you want a blank cheque to continue the shutdown and the lockdown. People are in pain, physical and mental pain. I want to highlight another thing, a desperate sad thing here, look, that I'm awful sorry to have to raise here, but I feel I have to, because parents have said it to me. They've said, what in the name of God are the politicians doing to try and help in this situation? We're all acutely aware of the issue of suicide and how that has affected every member of this house. There isn't a person who hasn't been affected adversely by suicide. But there's a new issue that has seemed to come to light in the part of the country that I'm from, and I'm sure it's happening in Kerry and it's happening in the border county of Cork, where I know an awful lot of what's going on also. And that is of young ladies with young families who are committing suicide. Now, I can't say to you here tonight, Minister, that's as a direct result of the pandemic and of the lockdown, but all I can tell you it is happening now in a way that it did not happen before. And it's so sad for these families that are ripped apart. To lose a young mother out of their family, to lose anybody, of course, is a tragedy of enormous proportions. But this seems to be a new development that wasn't there in the past. Not in my time, not in my memory did it happen in the way that it is happening now. And what I'm saying to you is that people are saying we need help. We need guidance, we need assistance, we need normality, and they're begging and crying out for normality. when I see some of the silly, nonsensical, stupid things that the government are coming out with, for example, putting what I call the meals on the clock, the 105 minutes. What genius thought up of this? Because all that's going to do is encourage people, if they are out, rather than settling down where they are and staying there, that they're going to be looking at the clock and saying, well, you know, we'll move on somewhere else now. I mean, is it trying to spread something or trying to contain something you are? Because that, and the genius that thought it was a good idea, that was like the story of the pub, that with the man with the pint of Guinness in one hand and the cheese sandwich, he was fine, but the person with a pint, he was some type of a criminal if he didn't have a cheese sandwich in his hand at the same time. I want to thank at this point the people in Kerry who have been administering and dealing with the vaccination programme, because they're extremely helpful, extremely kind, and working very, very diligently in the centres in Kerry. I want to recognise that, both from the management all the way down to the people who are actually running the facilities every day. They're doing an excellent job. But I do have to highlight the amount of Kerry people who are called to Limerick, but I want to thank, and in particular from the eastern side of the county, the amount of people that contacted me and said, we're being called to Limerick, and when I did highlight their cases, they were changed, but the amount of people that were actually called, it was frightening, because I definitely had over 100 cases like that, definitely more than 100. And if I had that many, how many in general were called from Kerry to Limerick? Those sort of things should not be happening. But I'm grateful for the assistance that I got in dealing with those cases. Our group, the Rural Independent Group, are going to be seeking amendment that this will finish on the 9th of June, and that the blank cheque will finish on the 9th of June. I will not be voting to give you a blank cheque for one day longer than the 9th of June. Of course, this Dáil, the members of the Oireachtas, should get out of this building as if it was on fire, and we should go back into Dáil Éireann where we should be with a long time, because we could do that in safety. We would be no danger to anybody, to the staff, or to ourselves, or to anyone else either. We could run our show in an organised and secure, and if we show that we can do that, it shows that the rest of the country can get back to normality as well. But take one look around you. For God's sake, you can hardly, do you know, I'm looking across and I can barely see you, you're so far away from me. This does not make sense, putting us into this type of an auditorium every day. You could fit 100 whales inside here, not to mind a share of TDs. And you know, there's nobody here half the time, because I don't know where the rest of them are the rest of the time, but they're not inside here anyway, for debates or for anything else. So what I want to say to you is, as soon as possible, get us out of here, and don't mind this talk of, oh, we're going back to the Dáil in September after the summer, because that's ridiculous. We should not have to wait until then. I'm asking you, Minister, to look around at the rest of Europe. Look at what they're doing in other countries. Look at what they're doing in the north of Ireland, and then look at us here. When you think about the hardship that the businesses and that the families are going through, when you think about people who've had deaths in their family, who can't have a proper funeral, that up until very recently only 10 people could go into the church. Like, while we all wanted to protect people, while we all wanted to do what was right and what was proper with regard to stopping the spread of the virus, there is such a thing as too far east is west. And we are definitely in that ground right now, Minister. And you don't seem to know when to stop. Because for any deputies to come in here and to vote for and to say that it's all right to continue this for maybe another 6, 7, 8 months, he must be really losing all touch with reality. And when I think then of what's going on with the public houses and telling people about putting up tents and awnings and every type of a building outside so that everybody, they might not get the virus, but they definitely will get pneumonia, because I don't know what type of a country you think you're living in, but I'm living in Ireland, and our temperatures and our and outdoor dining, we have fine public houses that have plenty of room. There's lounge bars, There's different rooms inside in public houses where people could be inside in heat and in comfort, instead of putting them out into tents, awnings, every type of a misfortunate contraption of a building you're putting them out into, and stay out of the house and go out into the yard and get sick with some other misfortunate disease or pleurisy or some misfortune. For God's sake, would he actually get a life, get real about this, realise that the people, and I'm giving you a strong message from County Kerry, and the message is enough is enough. This is finished. People are sick of it. What they want to do is get on with their lives. They're not ignoring that there was a pandemic, but we're out of it. We're coming out of it, and we're quite safe, and allow the people and the business people, trust them. Have a small bit of trust and faith in the people of Ireland who elected all of us inside here. And thank you very much, Michael Healy-Rae.